It's Saturday, September 9, 2023. We're out for an afternoon sail, and basically we're out to beat the fog. It was very foggy last night and this morning and yesterday. And this is the view toward Great Cranberry, and the fog is blowing in over the island. So it's going to come in across the gap between Great Cranberry and Sutton Island over there pretty soon. So we're going to turn around, I think, and head back towards Southwest Harbor in just a couple of minutes. Well, we tacked around because Great Cranberry is becoming pretty obscure. There's a whole fleet of International One Designs racing over there. They're a little hard to pick out right now. And the seawall area on the Southwest Harbor side of the Great Harbor is in the fog. As you can see, it's gotten pretty hazy in here. So this is what sailing in light fog is like. But in just a few minutes, it can turn into a little bit denser fog, and you won't be able to see anything. And the thing about sailing in the fog is, when you're in the fog, all you see is gray, featureless gray. And you know, there may be a quarter-mile visibility, but it doesn't seem like it because it's just, you know, gray. Anyway, we're headed back towards Southwest Harbor. This may not be the longest sail of the 2023 season. Look out here. There's the point just before seawall. And there's Great Cranberry Island. Well, take my word for it. And there's a fleet of International One Designs under sail. There's one of them out there. You might be able to pick it out. It has its spinnaker out. And there's the yawls sailing jib and mizzen with a very indistinct Sutton Island behind it. And back there, straight astern, is Little Cranberry Island. And you can just see some trees on the top of Great Cranberry over here. So I think that by the time we get back to Southwest Harbor, it's going to be a little on the thick side. So we're watching the fog on the webcam from home, and it lifted out about 12:30. So we thought, okay, let's go. And we got over here and got underway about 1:30 or so, and managed to sail over almost to Great Cranberry before the fog came back in. So, and the next 8 or 9 days are supposed to be kind of rainy and unpleasant, possibly with a visitor from a southerner toward the end of next week. We're hoping they don't come. I'm referring to a fellow named Lee, Hurricane Lee. So hopefully he won't drop in. Well, there's the International One Design that's sailed out of the fog bank. And if you look out there, you can just see the colors of another one in the fog. It's spinnaker up. And there are 5 more of them out there. But where is anybody's guess? And I don't know what kind of navigation they have on those boats. So their position may be anybody's guess for the people on board the boat. You can see the fog south out the western way. And there's a Friendship sloop sailing out, the Ralph Stanley built Friendship sloop Hieronymus. Well, there's the view east, an International One Design in front of the fog bank that's obscuring Great Cranberry, Little Cranberry, and now Sutton Island, and will soon be over to Bear Island, and probably will blow right into Northeast Harbor. We're headed toward southwest, which is relatively clear a little hazy. What we're going to do is head north toward the entrance to Somme Sound. And the fog isn't really a problem. We have a chart plotter. We know where we are. I've been sailing here for 28 years, so I kind of have a pretty good feel for where things are. Now, there's Greening Island. And we're headed up here for a buoy off the west end of Greening, where we will turn north and head toward the entrance to Somme Sound. And that is Southwest Harbor ahead. And if we look aft, you can see it looks like the fog might be lightening up just a little. Yeah, here we go, headed up towards Somme Sound. We made our turn around that buoy back there, and this little O'Day that we passed, who I think is headed the same way, hard to say. There's the west end of Greening Island. And that fog is breaking up a little. You can see the treetops on the cranberries, and you can see most of Sutton. And here's the east end of Clark Point. The main part of Southwest Harbor is there. As we head past Greening Island toward the entrance to Somme Sound over there. The only issue with Somme Sound is on a day like this, we will be downwind going up the sound and straight into the wind going down the sound. And I think the tide is coming in, so we'll have wind with tide, and it'll be very hard to tack out of there on this boat. So we probably end up motoring out. So I think what we'll do is just sail across here, maybe go around Greening Island, because it looks like the fog has thinned out a little bit back toward the cranberries. Well, there we're looking north toward the entrance to Somme Sound, and there are some pretty good sized clouds building up there. There are potential thunderstorms later today, and those clouds may be part of it. So we're going to go just a little bit further here. That's Northeast Harbor, the outskirts of it over there, and we're going to turn and head back east around Greening Island right here. And I think we're going to head in after that, because now who knows what the fog is going to do today. This is a typical fog sailing day where you kind of go out to the fog, come back, out to the fog, come back. And you can just see Bear Island coming into view over there behind that dock. Yeah, I just jibed around. There's coming up on the north side of Greening Island, the outskirts of Northeast Harbor, and the view straight up Somme Sound. All the boats that are coming out are motoring out, because it would be straight into the wind with the wind direction today. It's normal there. The wind is usually north or south. So if you go up Somme Sound and come back out the same day, you pretty much have to motor one way or do 100 tacks, because it isn't very wide. And if the tide's against you, you might do 150. So anyway, look back towards Southwest Harbor where we came from as we sail out past Greening Island. Have to stay a little bit to the north, which is port side here, because Greening does create a bit of a wind slick with very little wind. Sheet the jib in a little. It's hard work pushing that button. Well, here we are sailing past Gilpatrick Cove on the edge of Northeast Harbor. The harbor itself is just around a little point here, and this is where the Northeast Harbor Fleet has their moorings. And we're just about to sail out from behind Greening Island, and the fog is lifted out so I can see the cranberries again. Of course, it could come back in just as fast as it lifted out. We're going to sail over that way a ways. Then I think we're going to head back in. It's closing in on 4 o'clock, so today's going to be a short sail, maybe 7-8 miles. And that'll be about it. And you can see the fog out there in the western way as we look south toward the entrance to the Great Harbor. Yeah, and it's usually very calm back in here behind Greening Island, especially with southwest wind. It blocks the wind and it's very quiet back here. It's also often very hot. It was quite warm today, but fortunately we're getting back out into the wind off the ocean, so the temperature is going to drop around 10 to 15 degrees in about 2 minutes. Sailing here in the Great Harbor of Mount Desert Island is always an exercise in sailing around the islands. The wind is quite different depending on which side of an island you're on. Normally the north side of Greening, where we are now, and the north side of Sutton Island have much less wind and are also much warmer than any place else in the Great Harbor. So if it's blowing like stink, you can always tuck in behind one of these islands and get out of the big wind. Right now we're in a little wind swirl off the tip of Greening Island. So got about 100 yards to go and the wind is going to become a little more reliable. And you can see the fog blowing in around Great Cranberry again. So we're not going to go very far, just go around Greening. Then I think we're going to head back in. There's Bear Island over there, which was in the fog a little while ago, but now it's clear. And the entrance to Northeast Harbor over there. So, very hazy day with a little fog, but that just makes the sailing more interesting. Well, we're headed back. The only thing is going to be clearing Greening. I may have tacked just a little bit too soon, because the wind went a little more westerly than I thought it was. So we'll see. We'll go up here another couple 100 yards and maybe the wind will go more southerly and allow us to point around Greening. And you can see cranberries are getting lost in the fog again. It's one of those days. Fog is there, fog isn't. Fog is back, fog leaves again. So very light air out here now. We're only making 1.5 knots. So it's pretty light. I think we're not going to clear Greening. We're going to have to tack over a little and try again. Looks like it's going to be a race back in. That's the Manset Shore, Southwest Harbor over there. Fog is coming in. And there's the cranberries and Sutton Island. Cranberries are completely obscured, and it looks like Sutton will be invisible in just a couple of minutes as we head past Greening into Southwest Harbor. So I think I'm going to end this video here because it's going to be a combination of possibly a little fog sailing and getting into the harbor and getting the sails down and heading back to the dock. So that's where we are today, September 9, 2023, after a light to moderate air sail as we dodged fog banks here in the Great Harbor of Mount Desert Island, Maine. Thanks for coming along.